UFC Fight Night Edwards vs. Brady took place on March 22nd at the O2 Arena in London, England. The event brought in $4.71 million at the gate, and even more in sponsorships and merchandise sales, not to mention the UFC's broadcasting deal with ESPN, which pulls $300 million a year. But how big of a slice did the fighters take home? International commissions typically do not disclose fighter pay information, so while Venom sponsorship and fight bonuses are released, the purses I'll be showing are just projections based on disclosed earnings from previous events. And if you stick around until the end, I'll disclose how much the channel made from last week's video. With that said, let's jump into the first fight.
Every fighter that's under contract, if you want to tell the media what you're paid, that's up to you.
Kicking off the main card, two former Cage Warriors champions Morgan Charrière and Nathaniel Wood got to work in their featherweight bout. Early in the first, Wood dropped Charrière with a beautiful right hand right on the nose, though Charrière somehow managed to survive the blow and the ensuing guillotine attempt and worked his way to top position where he rode out the round. In the second and third, Wood maintained a speed advantage and continued to land the more damaging shots. Charrière had moments in a competitive fight, but after 3 rounds, Nathaniel Wood came away with the unanimous decision win. Despite the loss, Charrière earned $26,000 to show, assuming he's on the first fight of a new contract, and $4,500 in Venom sponsorship, also known as Fight Week incentive, for a total of $30,500. While Wood brought in around $74,000 to show and $74,000 for the win, along with $11,000 in sponsorship, for $159,000 on the night. The second fight saw lightweight Chris Duncan knock Jordan Vucenic down with a right hand just a minute into the fight. Duncan used the opportunity to attempt a guillotine choke, and while unsuccessful, he controlled Vucenic on the ground for the remainder of the round. Jordan started to find success on the feet in the second and opened up a cut on the side of Duncan's head, but ironically ended up on the ground yet again in another guillotine, and this time was unable to escape. Chris Duncan would go on to take the submission victory. Prior to the fight, Duncan expressed his gratitude for the $50,000 bonus he earned in his last outing.
I will not ever let my kids be in the situation that I was in when I was younger. It won't happen. You know, I went hungry, I went, through crazy stuff when I was younger. So I will provide for them, hail, rain or shine. So it was a endless battle to try and bring cash in through the door, and whoever gave me that bonus, whether it be Mike Maynard or Sean Shelby or Dana White, I've still got to shake their hand for that.
Vucenic, on just his second fight with the UFC, made $12,000 to show and $4,000 in Venom sponsorship and took home $16,000. And while he didn't earn a bonus this time, on the second fight of his new contract, Duncan brought in around $28,000 to show for this fight, along with another $28,000 for the win, $4,500 in sponsorship pay, and a total of $60,500. In the third fight, promotional newcomer Alexia Thainara came in on short notice to take on the crowd favorite Molly McCann. After a short time on the feet, Thainara used a slick trip to take McCann to the ground. They traded elbows as McCann tried to escape, but Thainara was able to maneuver to full mount, where she transitioned to the back, locking in a rear naked choke and forcing McCann to tap. Alexia Thainara would take the first round submission victory. After the fight, Molly would announce her retirement, leaving her gloves in the center of the octagon. Meatball Molly made $79,000 to show and $11,000 in Venom sponsorship for a total of $90,000. While Thainara, on her first fight off the Contender Series, earned the standard $10,000 to show and $10,000 for the win, with $4,000 in sponsorship pay, along with a $50,000 Performance of the Night bonus, for $74,000 on the night. In the fourth fight, Gunnar Nelson scored a successful takedown against fellow welterweight Kevin Holland in the first round, but Holland remained the aggressor, throwing up submission attempts and strikes from the bottom. In the waning seconds, Holland got a knockdown off a right hand and would have finished the fight if not for the end of the round. The fight continued, however, and Holland brought his aggression into the second. While he ended up on his back again, he dominated the ground strike count. Gunnar had a moment in the third when it looked like he might secure an arm triangle choke, but Kevin survived and took the fight to the final bell. It was an incredibly hard fight to judge, but the scorecards came down as a unanimous decision win for Kevin Holland. Nelson would have made close to $128,000 for this fight, with $16,000 in sponsorship pay, giving him a total of $144,000. As for the winner Kevin Holland, his disclosed purse at UFC Seattle stood at a whopping $250,000, meaning he would have earned at least that to show, and another $250K for the win, along with $21,000 in Venom sponsorship and a $50,000 performance of the night bonus, totaling a $571,000 paycheck. In the co-main event, former light heavyweight champion Jan Błachowicz pushed the pace against his opponent Carlos Ulberg as both men stayed cautious and patient in the first round. The action increased a bit in the second, but still both fighters remained calculated with their output. In the final round, the damage started to accumulate on Błachowicz's face as Ulberg pulled away in the striking numbers. Overall, it was a very close fight, but at the end of 3 rounds, the result was a unanimous decision victory for Carlos Ulberg. Błachowicz's purse is hard to estimate, but as a former champion, it could very well have been guaranteed. While likely not as high as when he was the reigning champ, I'd put it around $500,000 to $750,000, along with the maximum non-championship $21,000 in sponsorship, which averaged out, totals an estimated $646,000. While Ulberg, on a now 8-fight winning streak, earned around $61,000 to show and $61,000 for the win, $6,000 in Venom sponsorship, and a total of $128,000. Only 7% of the people watching this video are subscribers, so if you're enjoying the content and want to keep up with all the latest videos, take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And finally, the main event of the evening, Leon Edwards and Sean Brady got straight to it in their welterweight title eliminator. Both men landed cracking blows as Brady pushed the pace in an attempt to get Edwards against the fence. In the second and third rounds, Sean got the fight to the ground early, fishing for submissions and landing strikes from the top while controlling Leon for the majority of the rounds. In the fourth, Brady started cranking on a single-arm guillotine, and after adjusting to bring in his other arm, Leon was forced to tap, delivering Sean Brady the submission finish and the biggest win of his career. Leon's last disclosed purse was back in 2021 when he took on Nate Diaz at UFC 263, where he earned $110,000 to show. However, that was before he became champion and defended the belt twice, meaning he's likely on guaranteed pay now, with a purse in the same ballpark as Błachowicz. He'd also make $16,000 in sponsorship, for a total on the night of around $641,000. And for the winner Sean Brady, on just his 9th fight in the UFC, he took in a projected $72,000. However, it could have been significantly higher if he recently signed a new deal. Along with another $72,000 for the win, a 25% bump for the 5-round main event worth another $36,000, as well as $6,000 in Venom sponsorship, and a well-deserved $50,000 performance of the night bonus, giving him an estimated total of $236,000. And last but not least, last week's video got a little over 1,000 views as of this posting, translating to just $2.15. Any corrections to the numbers I've shown will be listed in a pinned comment below. That's all for this episode. As always, thanks for watching. See you next week for UFC Fight Night, Moreno vs. Erceg.